Hey, what's up, everyone? You're currently tuned into TBD on KCSB FM 91.9 in Santa Barbara and netnetradio.com out of Tijuana. Today, Lietoc and I are joined by San Antonio, quote, weird cosmic Western jazz musician CC Sorensen. How you doing, CC?
Doing well. How are y'all?
Doing well.
Super. Sweet.
So I guess like beyond like Twin Mirror, CC, what have you been up to in like the last year?
I guess mainly Gretchen, Korsmo, and I, who is like the main art director of Full Spectrum Records, put out the Llano disc through Full Spectrum.
Yeah.
So there was that, and then Liyou and I did a lathe that was also on Full Spectrum, which Andrew and I were laughing about, just like this joke of me just putting out continually, just having like 5 Full Spectrum releases a year. I think definitely pumping the brakes on that now. But yeah, those are the main 2 releases that I had last year. I'm trying to think.
No, that's cool, dude. I mean, we can't wait to like dive a little deeper into that stuff in a little bit too. But I guess like what else have you been up to, like other than like music? I guess it's like in terms of life, like I don't know, it's like January 2022. It's kind of like a good time to like look back, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the last year has been totally such like a weird kind of blur in so many ways.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely I switched to a different job. So I'm working kind of at this bodega, like, bougie. It's like this bougie cafe convenience store kind of space.
Yeah.
Which I totally wouldn't shop there if I didn't get.
It sounds intimidating.
It kind of does. Yeah.
Bodega, but there's like, I do barista stuff there, which is fun. So like working behind that machine. Even though I'm like not a huge coffee person, or like my body doesn't really handle coffee well, but I really like coffee. So it's kind of
same
curse.
Yeah, no, I feel you on that. Yesterday, I actually was like, I'm gonna go get a nice cup of dark coffee, which usually dark coffee doesn't have as much caffeine, right?
Right, totally, yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, it still messed me up really bad. And to the point where I was just at work and like I get so caffeinated sometimes where I literally cannot focus on work. I do everything but work, you know?
It's literally a drug. I mean, I've like find, even though it's kind of like a bastardized version, but like I have to kind of have like lattes at this point. Like if I just blast it with like oat milk or something.
Yeah.
And then, just have this much espresso or whatever.
Yeah, no, I feel you, dude. That's what I said too.
A little better. And I just to cut it off there. I'll drink like other things at work. But there's been like that kind of transitioning into new jobs. I was bartending before that. And bartending is like not my world at all, because like I don't really drink much, and not that matters for bartending, but just it doesn't help when you're like not wanting to be around that intense energy all the time.
Yeah.
And then also it was like kind of the height of COVID. I was like,
that's sketchy.
Well, the previous height. So just kind of being in that environment, like serving people, and like it was just bizarre.
I feel that, dude. Do you have like a routine of sorts, like morning, afternoon, or night? Like
it's all over the place. Geez. I mean, I guess on days off, like I usually get up and make some sort of breakfast. I've been like on this like potato kick. I mean, I'm always on a potato kick, but I feel like potatoes, and like my partner is like huge potato head, so it's like
that's dope.
Very easy to be crowd favorite if there's just potatoes.
Oh, for sure, dude. You literally can't go wrong with potatoes. I've actually been getting down to like these little, they're called like creamer potatoes or something. They're like these little guys, you know?
Oh yeah, totally.
Dude, they're so good. Like you could honestly just like throw them in the microwave and like, for like 5 minutes or something. I mean, that's how like, I think it's so sick that you can just cook potatoes in the microwave and they're just like,
I don't do that often enough, but I should move into
dude
that.
It's honestly sick. Like a microwave baked potato, it's like, dude, what cuts down like an hour of baking, it's like down to like 5 minutes. Like it's pretty sick. Have you picked up like any hobbies or anything?
I mean, aside from just like working on music, Not a whole lot. I got like a Switch for Christmas, so there's that, but that's not really a hobby.
Dude, that's sick.
Is it a time sink?
Wait, what was that?
Is it a time sink? Did you say? Or?
It was,
Have you been playing a lot and stuff? Like,
not as much as I would like to be, but that's definitely kind of usually after having some food. I'll kind of like revisit the things I've been working on musically, or just kind of chatting with some of my friends that I work with most closely, which is usually just like sharing memes. But getting in touch with them and kind of just like getting ideas out and just kind of getting in that zone. My good friend Craig, who I used to play in an improvised band, Rum Pilots, which we were based out of Boulder, Colorado, when I was living around there.
Nice.
He's living in San Antonio now, or back. He's kind of from here, but he's back here now, and he's a great like poet.
That's sick.
Weirdo. So it's been like really great to like have that energy again, especially just kind of having moved to San Antonio 2 years ago and like not having too many connects here. And it's like just having a musical bud in person to just like, I mean, mostly even just to hang out with the bit of music that we've been kind of working on. It's kind of sort of a new direction. And it's nice because he's just sort of focused on the words and the poetry stuff. Which,
that's really sick.
Yeah, I haven't really gotten to experience that a whole lot yet, but it's also kind of still liberating in the process of just making the music. However, there's not like another person getting in the way of that, which I mean, not that there's an issue with that.
So
think of this. Yeah.
I know you said that you just mentioned that you lived in Boulder for a while. How long ago was that?
Oh, geez. I think I was there like 2015 through like early 2017-ish. So just a couple of years. Both of my brothers were living there. So there's just kind of reason to go up there.
Yeah, that's sick, actually. How'd you like Colorado? I feel like there's kind of a sick scene in Colorado.
It was weird. I mean, Boulder itself is such a weird, like, ridiculous kind of bubble.
Is Boulder a college town? I know there's a university up there, right?
It's definitely like super like frat and sorority.
Yep. I knew people from my high school that ended up going to Boulder. They had images on Snapchat and it was like, this is just not.
Yeah.
No, and that's kind of what inevitably sort of ruined it for me. That and like other reasons, but I mean, honestly though, like the most beautiful place I've ever lived in my life. Like,
I want to go to Colorado so bad, dude.
Oh, it's ridiculous. I miss it often in the sense of, especially being in San Antonio now. I like it for the most part, but it's such a incredibly sprawled out city. It's like super. I mean, all the Texas cities are very like highway centric. I mean, America is in general, but
does San Antonio have like a loop going around it? Just like
there's like 2 loops.
That's sick.
2 of them? Oh God!
Exactly. So like, luckily we're like in the inner loop, and we're like pretty close to downtown, which I think works for us. And like I work downtown, so it's convenient because it's a quick bus right away. But if it wasn't for that, and I don't have like my own vehicle, so it's just like getting around. Like some of the people I know, they're like, "Oh yeah, I live like on this side of town." It's literally like 45 minutes to an hour drive. Just to, like,
my God!
We're just like, what are we doing right now?
That sounds trash.
Yeah, and it's just like really stressful, and like everyone, like drivers, like just driving, just such an intense thing to have to go through all the time.
Oh my God, I know, dude. I get so stressed. Like, I mean, I'm from a suburb. I've pretty much lived in a suburb for majority of my life.
Totally.
And when I drive in big cities, it's probably some of the most stressful. Like I'm just looking like all over the place. Like, oh my God.
Like, you're really just like fighting to not die.
Literally though, dude, that's what it seems like. And if they throw like one way streets on and like,
which is always like downtown,
dude. Oh my God. It's so like, I remember like one time I'm like about to like, I have my blinker on, I'm not thinking. And like, there's some guy on like the corner, just like, yo, that's a one way. Don't go, dude. Don't go. And I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah. I've been like trying to bike around here and there's like no bike infrastructure. And like living in Boulder, I was super lucky because it's, I mean, like I would consider like world-class biking there.
Yeah.
Just everywhere you can think, you can just ride everywhere on your bike.
That's sick, actually. That's really cool.
From all the roads, and you can just, it's the most beautiful rides I've ever been on in my life. and just riding onto these like mountain valleys within 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's cool.
Definitely like caused me to upgrade my bikes. It's like flying back down to those canyons off a piece of crap where it's like your brakes don't even work. It's like, wait, I'm going like motorcycle speed right now. Yeah, so it's like definitely getting I was able to get like a nicer bike with those like the fancy like disc brakes and stuff. So it's like,
exactly right. Yeah,
like safe on that. But it stinks being here because like there's not the best bike infrastructure. So it's like I'll ride my bike to work, and it's dealing with that weird one ways, and then like having highways kind of cut in between it, where it's like be like on an access road to a highway, and I'm like riding my bike, and it's like people getting up onto the freeway. Like, I should not be on this thing right now. Like,
dude, it's like, do you ever get people yelling at you like for being on your bike too? Yeah, I get that too.
I really actually had it the worst when I lived in Lubbock.
Oh, wow.
I don't know why. I mean, Lubbock's also a college town as well. So there's kind of just that like,
is Lubbock a college town? I didn't know that.
So it's kind of that like agro kind of zone, like big trucks that are like really intense and like murderous energy.
Murderous energy, yeah.
Yeah, it's really weird. I was recently talking about this with my partner. It's like, I wonder like what the psychology of like what happens to people when they're in vehicles to like their willingness to be able to take human life, whereas like you would never, you know what I mean?
Dude,
like,
seriously though,
I feel like otherwise we would, you wouldn't want to kill someone, but for some reason when you're behind the vehicle,
there is an album about this.
Oh, really?
It's called Nebraska by Bruce Springsteen.
Is it?
Okay.
I'm gonna have to go back.
It's all about the car. It's all about that vessel.
I mean,
dude,
down for the boss. So
the boss, dude. Cece, where were you from originally?
So I grew up in this tiny town called Hays, Kansas. It's like in western Kansas.
That's sick. Is that?
Yeah.
Is that near? I don't know. Do you call Kansas City OKC? I don't know. Or no, wait. I don't. What is OKC? Or is that Oklahoma?
Closer to Lawrence, Kansas.
Yeah,
I don't know where it is.
It's somewhat closer to Lawrence. It's still a little trek from Lawrence. It's like a 5-hour drive to Denver from there. So it's close to that kind of stuff. And then like Wichita, Kansas was like the biggest city. That was like 3 hours. Luckily though, there was like a tiny, I don't know what classification would have been, but there was a small university that was in the town, even though it was only maybe 15,000 people that lived in the city. But it had a small university. So it kind of helped feel a little more, there was people coming in. I mean, it was mostly people coming in from the surrounding
from the
counties, or maybe like kids from like southern Nebraska or like eastern Colorado, where it's kind of the same vibe.
Would you ever drive into Nebraska for anything? Were you close enough to?
Oh yeah. So my dad actually grew up in Nebraska, and like
that's sick.
His parents, my grandparents, were from there. So we'd always go to this freaky little town called Scotts Bluff. I mean, in reality, there's this gorgeous bluff that's nearby it. But besides that, it's just like every time I remember, like, all right, we're going to Scotts Bluff. We were all just like, no, like such a like, and it was like a decent enough drive, especially for kids. And it's just like, there's nothing there in that sense. And then we'd go to the bluff, but it was like really intense hikes. So you're just kind of like on this cliff face trail, just kind of like,
oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. There was all that. The only reason I'm familiar with Nebraska is that movie Nebraska. That's the only thing that I feel like I've really ever seen from there. Oh wait, we had someone on the show from Nebraska, right? Maddie?
Well, Marcia Fisher.
Yeah, they're on Full Spectrum. Yeah, dude, that's sick. Yeah, I don't know. Would you say that movie Nebraska is like, I don't know, does that represent Nebraska at all?
I'm not actually familiar with it.
Oh, you've never seen it? That movie's sick. You should watch it.
No. Who did the movie?
Dude, I have no idea, but I remember in like 2014 it was nominated for a Grammy. It was like a
Grammy.
What's the movie one? Is that
it's
a Grammy?
An Academy Award.
Academy Award or Oscar or something. Sorry, I don't keep up with that stuff.
Guild.
But yeah, it was like filmed in like black and white and stuff. And it's just about this like old man that like wants to like, I don't know, run away from like home. And like he thought he was going to win this like sweepstakes or something for like $1 million or something. And the son was like,
that sounds like a Nebraskan style styling story, I guess.
It's interesting. You should watch it. We'll have to follow up with you after you watch it to see if it holds up to your Nebraska experience.
Yeah, I have a feeling that Nebraska and Kansas are pretty similar culturally, just kind of what's happening in those places. I can't imagine being too different, especially the more rural areas.
So
I kind of feel that way about so many places, though. But anyways,
I was gonna say, were you involved in music at all while you were living in Kansas?
No, I mean, no. I moved from Kansas to Lubbock when I was like 10 years old.
Oh, I see. So you spent like majority of like your, I don't know, coming of age years actually like in Lubbock or whatever.
Yeah. And I was in Lubbock. I've been in Lubbock collectively longer than growing up in Kansas. So in that sense, it kind of dominated the feeling of home. So I guess, and more just having those important.
Yeah. I guess like when did you get involved in music? Do you want to talk a little bit more about like your, I guess like formative music moments and like inspiration and stuff? Like,
I was probably between like 14 and 15 is when I kind of, I guess, mainly had the realization that I could just be a musician, I guess, or that I was like, that it was possible to do that. And mainly that just came from both my brothers playing music.
And so from them, you're kind of just like, I could do this too. What?
Yeah. And kind of a lot of it was almost this weird, I don't even want to say like pre-learning, but just sort of like literally watching them play instruments for several years.
What were they playing?
Mostly guitar. There was like piano stuff for sure, keyboard kind of stuff. But there's a decent age gap. So my oldest brother's 10 years older than me, and then my other brother's 7.
I see.
So there was enough time where I was kind of just observing that for several years, even into the Kansas years. So I think when I finally kind of started to pick up instruments, there was already sort of an inclination of my fingers go here, sort of. Like somewhat. I mean, there was obviously still a learning curve, but it was like chords shaped this way or whatever.
So were you
beyond that? I have no musical understanding, I guess.
Were you guys like doing like playing in like punk bands or anything, or like, I don't know, were you involved in DIY back then when you were like a young teenager?
No, I was like kind of isolated in that way. There was things happening in Lubbock that I kind of found out about after the fact, and it was and it unfortunately was kind of on its way out by the time that I had sort of realized that there was weird things happening. And it was, I think it was kind of a formative member, the student Marcus Chapa, who passed away. Coincidentally, I think it's actually the anniversary of his death today. Anyways, he was this dude in Lubbock that kind of like pulled together this scene of probably 15 to 20-year-olds just doing kind of weirder music and kind of more in the punk scene, but it was just like kind of creating that like, there was just a lot of house shows that were just like really active at that time. And that was really good for the Lubbock scene. Even though, I unfortunately kind of missed out on most of that. Around like 18, 19, I think I joined this band Dry Heaves, which were like this like kind of surf rock psychedelic
That's
band.
sick.
Everyone was like weirdly obsessed with them for like years.
That's honestly cool.
And they like totally like, I can't remember what year it was. It was definitely like several years before I was in the band. They were like doing really well on like college radio stations like all over the country. And
really? Wow.
They unfortunately kind of missed the opportunity to like capitalize on touring and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's the step, go on the road. And,
exactly.
And they just never wanted to leave. They were just they became kind of this weird hometown band that every time they would play those, like you have to go see Dry Heaves. And it was just this like 2-3 chord chug along songs that just like didn't change the whole time. But I actually like really appreciate playing with those guys, even though it was sort of a mess the whole time. But in a weird way, it kind of expanded my own, just like mainly just my like performance, kind of just getting used to performing and being in front of people.
Is this them?
Totally. Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
That's sick, dude.
Yeah. They're wild dudes. Really good dudes though.
How'd you join that?
So I actually was like at a show that they were playing, and this other band was playing called Beta Moon, who my friend Damon was kind of the head of, who he plays cello and the pedal steel on my new album.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, Damon's super good dude and incredible musician. anyways, I was at a show of his old band and then Dry Heaps before I was in the band. And I actually kind of joined this band Veda Moon, which was Damon's band. And it was kind of more this jazzy, kind of like freak stuff. And then somehow the dudes from Dry Heaps like caught word of that and basically just like poached me somehow. And I don't know why I was down with it, because the music that Veda Moon was making was like way more
completely different.
What I was actually wanting to do.
Yeah.
Because it was more in the like jazz realm. But I think part of me knew that I wasn't quite like ready or skilled in that way, because these dudes were like way more like jazz musicians.
Yeah.
Whereas, like kind of just fake my way through a lot of it.
Yeah.
So like joining this like kind of more rough around the edges kind of rock band was a little, I think, a better move at the time, even though it definitely wasn't my vibe.
How old were you around this time when you were like playing in these bands?
I was like 19, I think.
Oh, I see.
And they were all like probably 5 or 6 years older than me. So there was kind of that
sick.
energy of them like wanting to take me to the bars and like have me drink a lot and like trying to like let me go home with someone. And I'm just like, that's not my MO.
Yeah, that's really funny, actually.
Never was.
Yeah.
So it was, I mean, it was fun for sure while it lasted. And like I said, it really helped me like just get comfortable with performing and just rehearsing with people in that sense. And, and even though the songs were really simple, it's also like realizing it's difficult to play the same 2 chords for like 10 minutes straight or whatever in that sense. So it kind of did make me a better musician.
Yeah.
In that way.
That's cool, dude. So I guess like, was that kind of like what the first scene you're kind of like involved in at all?
Yeah, I would say so. I'd say, I mean, well, I guess before that, actually, I forget. I was in this band with my good friends. I'm trying to think of what the vibe would have been. It was definitely kind of more like emo-y, like post-rock sort of stuff.
That's sick.
I love that.
Yeah, that's kind of cool, actually.
I was like playing guitar in that band.
Were you doing those crescendos?
Attempting. I think that's like the issue. I was always kind of running into these like, we should do this, have this build up into this like kind of wall of sound. And always my bandmates were like, what? No, like we need to just like make these songs or whatever. And I was always like, like imagine if we had like 4 guitars going on this part. And like, yeah, there's only like 2 of us that play guitar. And I'm like, yeah, we're like recording this song right now. Like, who cares? There should be 4 guitars.
Yeah.
Things like that, where I kind of like ran into certain like roadblocks. And I think that happens with so many people, especially with kind of the first few bands they're in, where it's you're just excited to be playing music with people, so you'll sacrifice a lot of what music is in order to just play music. And I think that's a good thing to go through, though.
So I guess like when did you start getting into just like weirdo stuff? Like when did you, I don't know, start meeting other weirdos in like Lubbock and whatnot?
I mean, it was a while before I really met any like felt like it was really until I met like Andrew and Gretchen and
I see
kind of that crew, which is, I always have this weird kind of thinking of like, it seems like anytime you're about to leave a place or you feel like you finally kind of have established this sensation of community, sometimes you get sucked away from it, or at least that's been my luck. It feels like, where it's like, I will be in a place for several years or whatever, and then kind of hit this place where I'm like, this is what I kind of always desired out of how I imagined just interacting with the community. And then I find myself leaving. It's weird. But yeah, so that was like 2017, probably until I actually started like having those kind of connections, meeting Andrew and Gretchen, and we started the Llano Estacado Monad band, which is a free improv band.
That's sick.
Yeah. So through that and like just met several other people, just kind of have this rotating number of like freaks that are all just like down for it. And I always kind of knew that there was the people there. It's just like, I don't know, sometimes I'm not the best catalyzer for that energy. So having other people involved was like nice.
It was a nice little push. Yeah.
So getting those boosts and just like being in community in that way.
That's cool, dude.
So you just dropped your first full length album level statement record. It's called Twin Mirror. It's on Full Spectrum, great label. And it has a lot of sounds that kind of, just to put it quickly, go the fuck off. And I think Thomas and I have listened to it a couple of different times. There's a lot of shit going on the album. It's a ton of fun though, but I think I want to know if you could walk us through two different pieces of music on it because there's a lot, like I said, a lot of different sounds. So how do you approach a track like 6 Heart Snake, which does kind of figure into your weird cosmic Western jazz, versus a track like Toad Vision, which is field recording based? Where do you kind of know to draw the line with these songs?
That's a really good question.
Yeah, 6 Heart Snake is sick, by the way.
Thanks.
It's so good.
Yeah, that one's so good.
Yeah, I think that one does end up being kind of my favorite. Or sometimes when I'm not wanting to maybe hear the whole album, I'll just go put that song on and I feel okay and satisfied for a minute. But yeah, that's a good question. I feel like there's certain differences, and I think things with like 6 Heart Snake where it's a little heavier on collaborating, where I have both my brother Ryan playing saxophone.
Oh, nice.
And then my friend Damon doing pedal steel on that one. Which I immediately, shortly after releasing or finishing the album, was texting Damon like, okay, like next album, he's building out a studio in Slayton, Texas, which is a small little town just outside of Lubbock. And I was like, I'm just going to come up there and we're going to I need all of your cello and pedal steel.
Yeah, seriously, dude. Yeah.
So I'm super excited for that.
That's cool.
But yeah, so I think just kind of the differences of thinking about the music in a collaborative manner. I don't know what happens, what shifts in my head to move towards that, and the difference between that and Toad Vision. Toad Vision is just a solo track in that sense, or just individually.
So I guess like I don't know, with like 6 Heart Snake or something, like how do you like put all the pieces together? How do you know like what's missing? Like do you like, I guess, like have a vision for like, I guess, what parts you think would sound good in here? Yeah. So you like hit up Damon or someone to play some pedal steel, or?
No, totally. Yeah. I think so much it's weird. Like so often my creative process is kind of weirdly staggered, or like the songs kind of sometimes don't become songs until like far into the editing process, or it doesn't really shape into the way it shapes into. And I think it's always, it kind of took me those later stages of working on 6 Heart Snake to start hearing, like, I'm hearing some sort of guitar of some sort, but it wasn't regular guitar. And I was like, oh yeah. I need the buttery goodness of pedal steel. And then I was like, immediately I was like, oh yeah, like my friend Dan plays pedal steel. And then it was like kind of at that same moment, I was like, oh wait, like I think he has a cello underneath his bed that he like should probably be picking up, because I know it's underneath his bed. And I was like, is that cello? You still have your cello? And he happened to have it. So that really worked out there. But yeah, it's so often that I'm working on music, and it really feels like I'm kind of just like truly messing with alchemy, into the sense of just mixing those components of collaboration, and then obviously like the instruments themselves, the performances in that sense. So a lot of times the outcomes are almost kind of mysterious to myself even.
Yeah.
They happen. I think I just sometimes feel very lucky that things line up the way they do. And sometimes it's also a curse, because I have a hard time replicating a lot of pieces, because I improvise kind of the core to a lot of my music. So then and because I don't have really a understanding of theory, at least currently, it sometimes just gets lost on me how things occur. It's just like, oh, I'm really glad I recorded that.
You're like, that was sick. Probably can't do it again. And Toad Vision was like a super late track on the album. I think it may have been one of the last tracks I made. Whereas 6 Heart Snake was actually a really early one. And it kind of was, the Toad aspect was like kind of just random. I think my partner and I were like listening through the bulk of the songs I had. I think there's maybe a couple missing at that point. And my neighbors have like this water in their backyard, and the toads. There's just like a lot of toads that hang out. Oh, that's sick.
Especially in the summer. Yeah, like particularly, and then like rainy season here. So it's like there was just like a lot of toad action, and we were like listening to the songs. And I was like, I was like, I should just like drop some toads like on all over this track.
I was gonna ask,
it was like really sounding really great with so much of the stuff. I was like, wow, they're really like singing along to this music right now.
Dude, so that's sick. I was gonna ask like how, like I was gonna ask like how, like what was the theme with the toads, but like it just sounded like sick. Like I don't know.
No, I mean it was really as simple as that. It was just like kind of, it sort of became our sound environment. and in some days, in a more annoying sense where it's like, wow, the toads have been going for like 12 hours straight. It's like, you're just kind of buzzing in it, which, I mean, you just kind of like start just living in that sound, which is way worse sounds to experience. But it was also sort of like somewhat kind of, trying to mix something into my world that sometimes was sort of annoying in a weird way.
I thought, I don't know. I thought the toads was also like really unique too. Just because I feel like most people are doing like cicadas or crickets or something like that, and then you're just over here I'm gonna throw some toad sounds in.
There's totally some insects like hidden in there that I think was able to hide more in a percussive manner.
Oh, nice. That's sick.
I can't remember the bug, but there was this type of bug that I was able to record that it makes this particular sound. It's on Six Heart Snake, and
nice.
It just basically sounds like percussion, though. I mean, I think most.
That's honestly cool, dude. I'm gonna have to.
Taking apart bug sounds, turn them into percussion. It's a good idea.
No, and I think I'm into that. I think, especially like so many like percussive instruments, I think are so modeled after that kind of stuff. Shakers, and,
for sure.
I'm a huge fan of like drone shaker. Like I just love music that's just like shaking the whole time. Like I would love to just be in a band where I just like play shakers. And a lot of times we're doing Llano Estacado band. Andrew has such a like amazing assortment of instruments. It's just like I just have all these things that I can move around, and it's very satisfying.
I'm going to the desert this week. I really can't wait to just I don't know, jam to some frogs and stuff. We're going to Death Valley.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I've like never been there, but I've passed like through Mojave.
So you're pretty close. I would say I went last year to Death Valley, and dude, most beautiful place I've ever been to. For sure.
I've heard incredible things.
Dude, it's just like so crazy because like you can, I don't know, really see just how like water has like influenced the land there, despite there being a lack of water,
Totally.
because there's no vegetation like really hiding anything. So you can see like these massive alluvial fans, where like the water runs down the mountains. Like you could, the alluvial fans are so big, you can see them from space. It's crazy. And so
I imagine, is this a good time of year to visit there as far as?
I would say winter is the best time to go, just because it's like the hottest place like on earth, you know.
I think don't people's tires like melt in that space or something if you don't have the right equipment or something, if you're like,
dude, and like people just die, dude. Like people are dumb because like their cars will like overheat. They'll go there just with their beater and stuff, you know,
just have like a jug of water or whatever.
And it's like we're going totally sidetracked, but I was listening to a podcast called National Park After Dark, which is like, they have some good episodes where they basically just talk about like crazy stuff that happens in like, the wilderness. And there was like this family from like Germany that wanted to go to Death Valley for whatever reason. And like, I guess like the man that went had like kids with like another woman. He was dating this other girl. So like he wanted to take the kids with him on this trip. So he took the kids with him on this trip, and then they rented this like van, and they were just taking these backcountry roads that you need like 4x4 to do, but they have like a passenger van, you know? And so they got totally lost, and like, it turned into like this huge like missing person case. And they thought that honestly, the guy like ran away to like, kidnap the kids, you know what I'm saying? As opposed to, so like they're like doing all kinds of crazy stuff in Germany with the law, trying to figure out the US. And then they end up finding the van in the middle of like this canyon that's like super inaccessible, and like all 4 of their tires are popped. And
was there like anyone die or anything?
Dude, they couldn't find the bodies for like 15 years, dude. They never found the bodies. They just found like, the car, and then just like whatever like bottles of like, I don't know, soda or whatever they left in the car. And apparently there was this guy who I guess was like a one of those like citizen investigators who like on the internet is like, I want to figure this out, because it became a conspiracy theory thing. It was like a big thing in like the 90s and whatnot. And so this guy takes it into his own hands, like gathers all of the information about the case and stuff. And they think what happened is that they tried to, because like there's a big military base over there in the mountains. They thought that because they were so stranded, they didn't know where to go. They saw on the map a military base, so they tried to walk over the mountains into the military base, only to find that the military base is just desert where they test weapons. And so the guy was like, well, I'm just going to try and find them back there. And he found human remains in the mountains.
Whoa,
where they tried to walk.
It's always like those people that somehow like
it's absolutely crazy. And like, there's like all these theories too as to like why they ended up in this canyon. And it's like they're probably trying to get back to civilization because their tires were popped and they're trying to look for the shortest route. But because they were speaking German and they're reading an English map, they didn't necessarily understand that it was like,
you know, directions totally messed up.
Anyways, yeah. But long story short, I really just want to say I can't wait to listen to your album in Death Valley.
Oh, sweet. Well, yeah, I hope
I don't know. Maddie, do you want to take this next one too?
Absolutely. I mean, I guess I'm going to take a different one that I've highlighted here. We've been talking about Llano Estacado Monad Band.
Yeah.
The decentralized asynchronous collective free project that's been on Bandcamp between you, Andrew Weathers, Gretchen, and at least over half a dozen other collaborators. And in general, really, tell us about it. Just how have recording sessions been, you know, especially at this current moment? How were they during COVID?
Yeah. I mean, I think so much of it for me was at that point I was living in San Antonio, so I kind of have been removed from a lot of the recordings that are occurring now. But yeah, I don't even know what the kind of how it got going. I think we met this guy Bill Corrigan. Andrew and Gretchen were doing this market in Lubbock, selling tapes. Like
that's sick.
Market or something. Yeah, it was great. And I think I was just down there hanging out because they had the booth or whatever. And then this like dude's like shuffling through their tapes, like, oh yeah, I know this or whatever. This is like, and we're, you know, for Lubbock, it was like, wait, who are you? Like, who is this? You know, instantly kind of just like magnetized. And I think one of us got his number, and we all like got a drink maybe a week or so later. Connected that he was also making weird music.
That's sick. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's just such an awesome dude and really like frenetic piano player. It's like every time play with him, it's like kind of this, having to keep up with this energy. It's like a challenge, but also like really fun to play with someone that's just kind of relentless in a really positive way. So yeah, like just early days of us, I think we maybe had like a jam session that didn't go so well, but we were like, we should still make something out of this. And then it just kind of like fell into that. And then it sort of became a thing where it's like every Sunday, I think it was every Sunday or maybe every other Sunday, we would meet up in Littlefield where Andrew and Gretchen are at, just blast in their studio for a few hours. Quickly kind of accumulated this huge kind of catalog of, I think there's like, there's probably at least 70 recordings on Bandcamp.
Wow. Yeah.
It's kind of, yeah. I was like trying to do the math a little while back, but I was like, there's at least like probably 15 hours of just like heavy improvised material.
Yeah.
It's great. And yeah, we've done, we did like one tape release with Shadowtrash Tape Group, which was kind of a label that my brother was operating there for a while. That was that's actually another thing I wanted to ask. Like, I don't know. Oh, yeah. Can you talk more about Shadowtrash? Totally. Yeah. So Shadowtrash became a thing in like, I think it was 2014, 2015, somewhere around there. It was like right around when I was living in Colorado. And my roommate, I was living with my student, Nick Ranelovich, and then my brother, Niall. And we were all just like making weird music, and we were playing in this group, Rum Pilots, which was a improvised band as well. So it was Ryan, which is my other brother, Ryan, Niall, Nick, and I. And I think we just were enjoying making the music, and we randomly stumbled onto getting a radio slot at the CU Boulder. That's sick, dude. Station. Yeah, the college station. It was like so weird. None of us, I don't think any of us were students at the time. So it was like some dude was like giving up his spot and happened to know one of us. And he was just like, can you take this please? Or whatever. And we were like, oh, absolutely. Or whatever. Or like whoever it was, so like sick. They were down for it. So then I think that was kind of Oh yeah, let's make a label, because we're like we were basically just making these like really crude tape mixes like every Tuesday, or for like this Tuesday show, and it was like, oh wait, we're just kind of making these like albums that are like just played on the radio once. Let's maybe like archive this somehow. So that kind of started that, and then we discontinued it maybe a little over a year or two ago. So there's the archive still up online. I never did a Bandcamp, so it's just a website. But
oh, I see.
Yeah, but you can listen to the huge catalog of just like random experimental kind of stuff.
So did you guys have like a following with that?
It never grew into anything huge. There was a couple moments where there was like, a little bit of press here and there, but nothing. It never really. I kind of like always worried that like not having it on Bandcamp was kind of this weird. It didn't do us any good, I don't think.
Yeah.
Having it be on this website, and the website was great. My brother like built the website from like ground up.
That's sick.
Basically, so he made this really gorgeous website. But I think it kind of didn't help in a weird way. I don't know. I think a lot of people really prefer being on Bandcamp, at least in the weirdo world. It's easier to listen to a lot of music on Bandcamp.
I mean, I feel like it's just the go-to spot, but I mean,
yeah, it's just easy. You can follow people on there, and just the way you can.
Yeah, I don't
know, just the way you can be involved on it. It's different.
It's always easier, I guess, to like. It's unfortunate in that, like, I guess we need a way to connect with someone with like, I don't know, people like that. But like, it is sick. Yeah. Like, I'm always a fan of a good website.
I love the idea of so much music out there that's just kind of these hidden treasure troves that so many people probably won't actually ever experience, but it's there to be experienced if you do happen to like find your way there on the internet or something. Yeah. It's kind of wild how much music really is out there. I think we talk about it a lot, but it's truly kind of mind-boggling.
Honestly, sometimes I get into like a spot where I just get extremely overwhelmed with how much music is actually
and
out
then
there.
I'll just listen to like the same thing.
Like that's what I'm saying. And like I'll just get like stuck, and I'll be like looking through stuff, and I'm like, I guess I'll listen to this jazz record I've been listening to for 2 weeks. It's like I'll just go on like Bandcamp on the feed. I've been actually like trying to make this like a New Year's resolution where like if I get into like a weird funk in terms of music, because we all go there, where it's we'll end up just listening to the same thing way too much. Like, I have just been opening up Bandcamp and just going on like Discover or something like, or like, I don't know, whatever like the tabs are on the app, and just like playing whatever pops up. First thing that pops up in the feed. And I'm like, I'm just going to listen to this whole record while I'm working.
Yeah. No, I would say like a quarter, even more of the little mix I made was that experience.
That's
like,
sick.
Okay, I'm just going to like dig around some labels that I'm a little bit familiar with, or things like that, it's always easy to lean into places like Orange Milk or like Astro.
For sure.
Find something pretty quickly.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I've got packages from both on the way.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I am always just so regularly just blown away.
You mentioned Astral.
Astral Spirits. Like especially them being over in Austin. I'm always like,
Astral is like one of the labels that I think kind of started it for me. In terms of a lot of like experimental stuff. Yeah, that's how I found like Claire Rousey or Rousey. That's how I found that with like her like percussion record that she did like 4-5 years ago or something like that. That one is probably one of my favorite Claire records to this day, honestly.
I have them on tape. I can't remember. But
Aerophobia. I think that's Aerophobia.
Aerophobia is so good. And like I honestly like after that always saw Claire as a percussionist, and I was always like expecting like music that would be like free percussion from Claire, but then like
drum set or something.
It was just crazy.
It is though. It's percussion for the mind.
True. And then it was round. Yeah. And then she kind of became this like stalwart of emo ambient, which like it's crazy.
And it's like I just love how it's always just so fun to hear everything that she's working on.
I just can't believe she's putting so much stuff out all the time.
That's what it's like. It's kind of like sometimes weirdly makes me feel bad. I'm like, should I be making more? Like I need,
right.
People surrounding me, like people that I feel like are my peers, or especially with like Claire being in San Antonio as well. It's kind of like, all right, like I feel like I need to be like, should I be more active or whatever? And you kind of go through these loops. But I love everything that she's working on.
Yeah, actually with like Astral Spirits too, like, I haven't checked out their catalog in a little bit, but they released this one record that I actually sent to Maddie, I believe on like Monday or something yesterday.
Oh, that's that guitar one.
Yeah, the guitar one.
Oh, is it the new the Ava Mendoza one?
Yes, that one is so good.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
wow,
I haven't
dude.
done into it yet, but I think I just saw them post about it.
Dude, yes, listen to that one. Totally. It is so.
I think they're doing like a second run or something of the cassette, or I can't remember.
Dude, yeah, it's like the second edition. Yeah,
second edition.
I might have to buy a copy, but it really reminded me of just like, I don't know, Bill Orcutt stuff. I feel like Bill Orcutt goes a little like more free, but like, yeah, that I don't know. It just really brought me back to that. Bill Orcutt is another one of like those first musicians that kind of got me into like.
Oh yeah, I love his stuff. I need to dive like more deeply into it.
Dude, just
when I see his name on something, I'm always find myself
for sure, dude. Just 4-string improvised guitar, dude. It's just sick. So I guess like back to the Llano Estacado Monad band. I don't know, what is the word? Monad?
I mean, I feel like we all say monad, but I don't.
Monad. Okay.
That's you.
Whatever the group's feeling.
Yeah. I'm sure it's like regional too.
Yeah.
So whatever.
So were you guys like playing over COVID and stuff?
There was like, I think there's been some moments. And like I was saying, it's like I've been pretty far removed from a lot of the in-person stuff. So
yeah.
I'm always just surprised. I'm always excited and surprised when I see something posted, but it hasn't been as active. They did just post something maybe like 2 days ago.
Yeah, I checked the Bandcamp. There's a new one.
Yeah,
they're all just dated as
right. And yeah, I love that. That was like a really conversation we had where I think maybe initially I was kind of opposed, where I was like, oh no, these all need to be titled albums or whatever, and it was like, I think my friend Bill, he's also a librarian, so he was like, no, we need to have this like archive of dates.
Oh, that's sick.
And yeah, I'm like really glad we actually decided to just go with
this is what the band was like on this.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about just that it's so much of it's unedited, and it's just like, here's this moment in time. Because I think some of the improvised music I've played before, there's still a lot of heavy editing happening. Or as far as, all right, let's take minutes 3 through 7, and minutes 11 through 15. Whereas typically with the Llano band, it's just like, here's
you just throw the entire track.
45 minutes of like, here's 5 minutes of like, clearly none of us are connecting, but there's 5 minutes of like us not connecting. And then there's the 10 minutes following of everyone walking in. And I think it's sometimes important to hear all that, because it kind of transcends.
Have you guys ever done like, I don't know, shows with that band? Yeah.
We've done probably less than a dozen, but we've done a handful, all of them being in Lubbock pretty much.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And a lot of them being typically at like some sort of gallery space, or there's like a First Friday art trail there. It's kind of one of the main big things that Lubbock has going for it in that sense. There's not a whole lot happening there, but the First Friday art trail is really great. So we were able to play down there a few times.
That's cool.
It's always been kind of hilarious, especially for me. And I think Andrew's having better luck now, especially since he's kind of working in that co-op space and able to curate and book his own shows in that way. But so much of my luck for years before I knew them, was like having to book house shows, which is kind of like other, just kind of like your like standard indie rock local bands. They're still like great musicians, great people. A lot of them are my friends, but then it's like 3 bands playing those sets, and then it's like, it's to me, and I'm just like, all right, let's see. Awkwardly making like ruckus in the corner or whatever. I feel like I'm just kind of like bothering, everyone's at a party. It's kind of like that really zone to be like listening to, not to say that my music was more intentional, but just like experimental music kind of being a little bit more, you have to intentionally listen to it a little more. I guess. For sure. And it's like not party music.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's like, if people aren't expecting it, it's just like kind of awkward. I could see, where, it's just, it just be that way sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. That was like probably a good 5-year stretch. And that's eventually, luckily I kept at it, because that's eventually how I met Andrew and Gretchen, which is like, there was this event called Skeletor, and it was like this Halloween event. It wasn't on Halloween, but it was around Halloween. Yeah. It was like a bunch of people would bike around this kind of college district neighborhood and go to a bunch of different houses that would host different bands and stuff.
Oh, that actually sounds like really sick.
No, it was super great. Unfortunately, I usually turn it into like drunken mess and bikers, like
it's a bummer.
Riding around.
Yeah.
But the idealism.
Yeah. But again, the concept, brilliant. I'm all for it. And still, I think, should be able to drink. I think that's things like, if we had better bike infrastructure, it wouldn't matter then, because if you don't have cars in the equation, you're probably okay, ideally. Anyways, so yeah, I was able to play that show a couple years in a row. And I was playing the show, and it was like in a front yard, and the dude Hayden Pedigo.
Oh, dude, I love his music. His music is so good. Yeah.
And we didn't know each other at the time, but he was at the show, happened to be there, and caught my set. And I think we shared like a sentence or two. I think he was literally just like, "Oh my god, like what?" I did not expect to see that in Lubbock or whatever, of all places. And that was like a really wicked out show. I think I just had like 6 radios, all just like switching between stations with like some sort of drone pedal in the middle.
That sounds sick.
Really more of a really noisy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find this. I don't know. My live performance and my recorded music sometimes is so different. It's weird because I think sometimes people expect they hear something I recorded and they're like, "Oh, let's go see you live," and then I'm like,
"You're just doing 6 radios, like switching stations." Like
I've been like really into like just like rubbing a snare drum on on a bass guitar really hard and like affecting that, and then like screaming into the snare drum or something.
Dude, that sounds
if you could take any of Twin Mirror live, I guess, what could be adapted into that format?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've been trying to figure out. I think that's kind of my desire now is, all right, like who do I need to get with that can help me make this happen live? Because I'm super interested in playing that kind of music live, even though I don't think it would be 100% the exact same compositions, but I think they could be replicated in such a way that still honors that energy, I guess.
Yeah.
So I think I am kind of a place where I want to try to put together some sort of band
that'd be sick.
That kind of follows along with that kind of energy. And naturally, like I kind of gravitate towards people like Andrew and some of the people that were on the album already. So I'm hopeful to maybe kind of see that happen over the next year or two, but also understanding that there's a lot of distance between myself and these people. So it's hard to actually make those things happen. That's the biggest thing. I think I'm gonna try to take time off work here soon to just go up to Littlefield and to that other town, Slayton, and just like be able to spend a lot of time on this next album.
I feel like that would be a much needed break just based off of your tweets about work.
Yeah, no, for real. Yeah, it's kind of, it sucks because I've only been at this job for like maybe 6 months now. But yeah, I think for so many of us, especially depending on the kind of work, it's just like we're on like calendar year 3 of what's been happening. And
dude, I would not be, oh my God.
Just hearing my boss nitpick about things where I'm just like, this literally doesn't matter. Like we're literally just, like trying to stay alive right now. And you're like talking about such like weird minor thing, like these weird punishments where it's like, we're all adults. It's like strange.
So interesting.
Like, it's like, I don't understand, like your function here is like, seems pretty useless, but okay.
Go off, dude.
But yeah, anyway, that's like, wow. Yeah. I could go off. Yeah, for sure.
Hey, start a band, dude. Start a band instead. That's
like a big desire for me. And like, one of the dudes from Orange Milk like asked me about making a record, and I'm like, I think I really want to do it right.
Who was it, if you could say?
Seth hit me up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I was like, I woke up to that news. I think I like had slept in super late that day, and I woke up to a message in one like on Instagram or something or Twitter, and yeah, it was like, really love the new record, blah blah blah. Like, would you be interested? And I was like, kind of been like, smitten, and sort of also like, is this even real? Because I really really admire
that's huge, dude.
Yeah, and I was just kind of like, I think it's easy to feel like, I think this is easy to feel like nobody sort of often ever. So it's like such a nice relief to like.
Yeah, it's probably super affirming. Just like, wow. This.
I kind of definitely like fell into a rut on the music making, because I probably wrapped up Twin Mirror like maybe 6 or 7 months ago, maybe even a bit longer. Just kind of being in a rut and just hearing news like that, and just kind of some of the other
so sick.
Things like, having you guys have me here, it's like huge boost on like wanting to actually make more music.
Hey dude, Amarillo, I don't know, the Amarillo newspaper or something wrote about you too.
Oh yeah, totally. That was like super unexpected, and it was like hilarious. It's like so so punk energy of Amarillo, because they were like, hit me up like, hey, we're like going to print this paper in like a day. Can you like be in the paper? Like, will you do this interview or whatever? And I was like, I mean, yeah, sure.
Dude, that's so sick.
Like,
actually,
it's like that was like one of the first interviews I've done, and this is like the second or third, or as far as like face to face in this way. So it's like it was kind of like this. I was like, oh wait, yeah, I'm down to talk to you. I don't like. And she was like super sweet, and I think she's been with the paper for like 7 or 8 months now. So it's like good to see someone that
is she like into that type of stuff too. Like,
well, that's what I'm wondering. Yeah, and I guess that was kind of my curiosity. I was like, I was kind of wondering, like, did you hear the record, or did someone turn you on to it, or like,
yeah, that's what I wonder too. Like, how do you like?
I was really confused. I mean, it was like super. It was like smitten by it, but it was like. It was confusing. Yeah. All right. I mean, it was great. Yeah,
that's like, sick though, dude.
Like in a Sunday paper of this city that I've never lived in. Yeah. But like, it's also like regional though. I mean, it's 2 hours from Lubbock. So it's also like, it feels great. And it feels good to represent that area.
That's so cool.
Like not there anymore, but like for the Lubbock homies and like the Llano homies, like,
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like trying to be able to support that.
That's awesome, dude.
It's exciting. It's a really weird feeling, because I think it's easy to be so focused on the music for so long and to desire these sorts of outcomes to a degree, but then you forget that it's a possibility sometimes because you're just so focused on your life or whatever, or just your life's just going about how it is, or whatever. It's kind of these little shocking moments of like, wow, like there is people hearing these things. And it's, as much as we like all don't want to admit it, it really like feeds the ego in that way. Where it's like, wow,
I feel like that's really like, I mean, if I was an artist too, I mean, that's the ultimate goal, right? Like, I don't know for people to enjoy it too, you know?
Things you want to hear in that sense. So it's like a huge boost, and it kind of helps like lift myself out of these kind of darker moments, especially because the last like 2 weeks I've been like exposed to COVID like twice.
Oh god, it's rough right now, dude.
Yeah, and like my boss got COVID and decided to like not tell anyone, and like basically exposed all of us. And like I found out from like the owner that they had COVID, and I was just kind of like, yo, like, I am not for that kind of like, that's really dangerous energy. So it's also disappointing because I've missed a lot of work. Like I don't get sort of like sick leave or anything, so it's just kind of like a lot of money just missing now. And I'm like, oh, right.
I'm sorry.
So
dude.
The support I'm getting is like absolutely like really helping my life right now.
And people are buying your tape, so there's some, grocery money, you know what I'm saying?
Literally. No, yeah. And it's like, it's funny. It's, I mean, it goes to that, or it goes to like treating myself to some nice wine. Or
hell yeah, dude.
I deserve every so often.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, Cece, we have one more question before we hop into, I guess, like some listener questions.
Totally.
Do you want to take this one, Maddie? Or do you
I'll go for it. So you had, speaking of interviews, you had done one with 15 questions. Really lovely website that just
that question.
And in it, you said, I'm really convinced that everyone is a musician. I think we're a lot more capable than we know. And I was curious about some of the moments that color that sentiment. I feel like maybe we've touched on that a bit with all of the different gigs or stuff, but just, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just, like I was saying earlier on, like kind of that, realizing that with my brothers years ago, watching them play for so long, where it's just kind of like, I think this is possible. Like, I think there's not this weird requirement of what's required to make sound or whatever. The ideas of, unfortunately, so much of like mainstream music has this idea of, here's the structure of the song, or you need to sound really good, you need to look really good while you're doing it. Those are all just like lies, basically. So it's like everyone's perfectly capable of making sound. I mean, I think it's just the way we move through life and the way we interact with things. And I mean, I think obviously it definitely requires the desire and the ears. I think that's the thing I'm learning more and more. It's like listening is so much more important than what your technical ability is. If you're able to hear things in a tasteful way, and I think taste goes so much further than talent in that way. And also in that sense, also I feel like taste is also fake as well, because it's so like subjective in that way.
Yeah,
where,
for sure.
You know, one person's, you know, people legitimately love Kid Rock. I can't deny that they are super into that kind of music or whatever.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but
it does keep you up at night, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'll listen to it for some sort of weird, I don't even know what it does, but I'm fascinated by it all the same, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I think especially like kind of being a part of the Llano band, having played with a lot of people or inviting people that are absolutely don't think of themselves as musicians. And then I see them in the space and I'm just like, you're literally over there making music right now.
You're literally making
like really beautiful music. And I think like, I really think about like Gretchen often, where it's like, she hasn't been making music for that many years. I think the Llano band was maybe kind of some of the first stuff. I think she'd done a few things with Andrew and some folks with Full Spectrum here and there, but I don't think she would consider herself someone that's like a musically inclined person in that way of like, I make music, I like, you know, and then just like hearing the things she makes, I'm just like, no, yeah, you're a better musician than people that like have been like to school for music or things like that.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff. And especially for someone like me, where it's like I'm a high school dropout and I sometimes kind of bask in that in a negative way often, but then other times I feel this weird liberated feeling of also feeling like I am so detached from certain expectations of how we move through institutions and what's expected of us through the institution. So often we're just like this thing is just like this business, like stealing away our lives or whatever. I don't necessarily like center myself with that. And I mean, other reasons, like dropped out for extremely different reasons, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's just the possibilities are endless and music's always so infinite. And I think, I'm super intrigued by people that don't think of themselves as musicians making music, because I think those outcomes are always the most surprising, because musicians tend to tend towards music in that sense of like, they just think about music as the way we understand music at large. So it's nice to hear takes from people that don't know how to work a keyboard or a guitar or whatever instrument they're trying to use. It's like Andrew doesn't know how to play saxophone really, but his saxophone parts when we're playing Limb, I'm always just like, yes.
Yeah, you're like, that was so sick, dude.
Keep squealing. Like, even if you can only do 2 types of squeals, like those are really good squeals.
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, no, it's super great. It's super inspiring to like get to be a part of a project where you get people that are just at so many different levels. It's great. Yeah.
So we have a couple listener questions. Do you you ready to hop into those?
Sure.
Okay, so this one is from Lucy Liyou, I believe. Says favorite song off Twin Mirror.
I'm not going to answer. No, I was kidding.
Lucy kept it tame compared to they submitted to Nick Zonka, dude. That was wild.
I was about to say, I'm like so surprised right now that I'm not being trolled, especially because we had plans. Well, we were kind of joking. Well, not even joking. Andrew Weathers and Lucy Liyou and I were talking about putting together a February little Texas tour. Andrew and I play in a little duo, Satin, Spar, which is like, I do a lot of like affected trumpet stuff that we like run through a bunch of synthesizers and the modern day.
Yeah, right.
That sounds like it just needs a little Lucy Liyou.
Yeah, no, right. And that's why I was like, you should probably jump on this tour.
Yeah.
Like, we should do a thing. And they haven't toured yet. And I've minimally toured, and then like Andrew's like tour daddy. So it's like, we should probably get Andrew.
For sure.
I think my favorite track from the album is,
so,
I mean, Six Heart Snake definitely is like,
that one's so good. I'll say it again.
I feel like it has, to me, it feels the most re-listenable, I guess, because it also just has such a songy sort of structure to it a little bit, or just, you know, the beats per minute, I feel like moves along just enough to where it's like not too slow, where you're kind of like, oh, it's like slugging me along here, but it's not at all fast either. So
it's nice and flowy,
it's right in the Q zone.
Nice and I don't even know what the beats per minute are. I'm not really that concerned about it, but I do like that whatever that area is, I'm hoping to try to stay in that zone because I think it's a good zone. And it's maybe around like 100 beats per minute or something. And I think it's, I don't know, it's a nice chug along.
Yeah.
6 Heart Snake. And I really like the final track, South Plains, a lot.
Dude, I really liked, hold on, I want to pull it up real fast because I was listening earlier today and I was like, wow, this song is very good. Oh, Disappearing Spirals is very good too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I like that one a lot. And I kind of like manipulated the cello parts that my friend Damon sent me from South Plains to build that track. So
wow, that's sick.
Yeah. So that one was one of the later tracks that I made. And it was, I started just with those cello parts. I just stacked them and I think I like reversed them and started like pitch shifting them around, stacking them to make it sound sort of like try to get it sound like multiple string sections sort of. I know Andrew likes Steve Reich a lot. I should probably just have like a piano that's just kind of like blasting one chord. If I'm doing a full spectrum release, like this will be like Andrew's song.
Yeah, that's sick. That's really cool.
He has a tattoo of Steve Reich score, so I'm like, I need to do something.
Andrew does?
Wait, Andrew. Oh my.
Yeah. It's
that's
like
sick.
And it's like, I don't remember what piece it is. It's like
we just found out that Chaz Primic of Fubu Sushi, he has a Windham Hill tattattoo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking
tattoos
about.
Y'all have.
Yeah, I know. That's
I'm
sick.
such a late bloomer on Windham Hill. Like I maybe started like making it a point to get the records like 2 or 3 years ago. And yeah, I'm a huge fan of Tim Story. I think he released like a debut album maybe his debut album on Windham Hill. Yeah, check out Tim Story. He's great. It's like super chill.
I will recommend off of Windham Hill. It's the Tibetan Monk cassette. Just of just recording of Tibetan monks. They really went for it in 1989.
That sounds legendary. Yeah. It's always the best feeling too when you stumble across those things in stores as opposed to having to like order it on Discogs or whatever. Which I'm not above ordering.
Windham Hill is usually like in like the dollar bins too. At least in my experience.
No one wants that stuff, which is such a shame.
No, and I'm always like, I don't know if that means it's going to be like a real stinker. And I'm like, no, this is another perfect release.
That
every time.
Yeah, I find it's like them and like ECM stuff. I'm always just like, if I see ECM on the back of the record.
What ECMs do you often find? Because I've been in a rut only finding Keith Jarrett, and I've hit my capacity for Keith. I love you, Keith.
But hang on.
I don't need Standards Volume 2 again. It's and Pat, but love Pat Metheny. I want a Guitar Hero of Pat Metheny. Thomas, you have the one that you got at Jupiter, right? That Pat Metheny, Steve Reich.
Yes, dude. I actually found that at 5 Space.
Oh my god, that tape's so good. I'm not quite sure who this one comes from. This doesn't tell me on the sheet. But
I'm like honestly surprised and flattered that there was people that decided to ask these questions.
Thoughts on armadillos?
Yeah.
Jeez, that's like
Andrew asked that.
Oh man, that's like super triggering because it's the only animal that I've killed on the road.
Oh my god, no. That's sad. Actually,
aware of. I mean, I may have hit a bird. I've hit a bird like once. It flew into my windshield.
Dude, birds are tragic when you hit them driving.
It like cracked the windshield and like blood splattered.
Oh my god.
But yeah, the armadillo, it's a funny story. I was playing in that band. It was stupid. We thought it was like super trendy. We were playing this band called Tiger Coast, but it was like a slash between the words tiger and coast. It felt important. Anyways, we played this like really miserable show in Dallas. And it actually ended up being our last show. And it was just like all the worst things happened for that show. Like it was just a one-off show. It wasn't a tour or anything. We were just going to play a show in Dallas. And we didn't even know at the time that we were going to break up or anything. But it's like a nasty rainstorm between Lubbock and Dallas, just like the whole way, just horrible rainstorm. And we like load up all the gear, like, trying to get it loaded up in the rain. And then like halfway down the road, we're like most of the way to Dallas, like we're like 2 hours from Dallas. And it was like, I had this feeling where I was like, wait, is my guitar in the back And I was like, I don't think it is. And like looked back there and I was like, dude, I left my guitar in Lubbock. And like my drummer who I was riding with was like, and he was dealing with driving this really intense rain. And he's like a year or two younger than me at the time. And at the time I was like 18 or 19. So he was like 16 or 17. So he hadn't been driving for that long and he's driving this like really intense rain. He was so mad that I left my guitar. And it was like, of course I was like me like smoking a bunch of weed before we left. Like, so it's like, I felt bad. I was like, man, like I don't want to be that like high guy. Like got his literal instrument, but I did. Luckily I was able to like borrow some other person playing the show's guitar. Anyways, yeah, long story short, we played like really great gig. We ended up like breaking up because we all basically just like hated each other by the time that show like happened, started and finished. Just like, or not even hating each other, but it was just kind of like, this isn't like whatever. This will be the last show we did. It was a really good show. And then the drummer Eric, whose car we were riding in was just like beat after all of it. And I was like, I'll drive. But he was just like, I just want to go back to Lubbock. We were going to crash in Dallas. And he's like, I just want to go back to Lubbock. He was just like defeated. And like, he was like 17 or something. So I get it too. I think he was just kind of like, I need to get back to Lubbock. And I was like, all right, we'll drive the 5 hours back to Lubbock. And he's like, can you just drive or whatever? And I was like, for sure. And then, it's passing the semi and this stupid armadillo like decides to just come on out. And there's just like nothing I can do at that point. So I'm like passing a semi. I'm just like not going to try to like move the wheel.
Yeah, no, that would be worse. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just like took it out. I mean, luckily we were in this like suburban kind of vehicle.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, I just like looked in the rear view. It was like getting dark, but it was enough light out. I just remember seeing in the rear view this body getting.
You can't look, dude. You can't look. I was so upset. And he was like, my friend was like asleep or whatever, and I was driving his car too. So like that's what like woke him up, and then he got like upset about that, which naturally, because he's like, what happened? Yeah.
And I'm like driving his mom's car or something. So it was like,
was it like are they big animals? Like how big are those things?
Geez, they're not that big. It's like,
but it's like hard. It has a shell, right? So it definitely would
they're like an armored little animal for sure. But it's maybe like 1.5 feet long by like maybe a little over half a foot wide. Like I wouldn't imagine them being more than like 10 pounds, 10 or 12 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I don't know how heavy that shell is though. That might probably add some. But there's this one park in San Antonio that my partner and I will go to sometimes, and there seems to be armadillos that just like hang out and are okay with people seeing them. So
dude, that's pretty wild. Like that you just see.
I've been able to like amend that relationship because I felt like so bad for so long because I never killed anything. And I think at the time too, I was also like vegetarian, so I was also it was just my mind state was so upset about that experience.
Yeah. That's pretty traumatic, dude.
It's and it was such a like all the events leading up to that show were just so like miserable, sort of. So it's just like, of course, I like killed an animal. But yeah.
So our last and final listener question here. It says, "Do you fuck with Texas barbecue?"
Oh yeah, not as much as I would like to, but I'm like, it's not the healthiest food, I guess.
It's definitely not.
Also, like oftentimes expensive. So I guess like in my being mostly Texan at this point, I will like make my own barbecue. And I feel
that's dope.
I don't have like a smoker or anything, but I've like watched enough YouTube videos on like building the right kind of fire on those.
Dude, that's sick.
Library grills or whatever. So it's like. It's a particular way, and I'd buy like a couple little things, little like gadget things.
So what kind of meat are you making, I guess?
I guess like usually I'll just do like the pork shoulder, like the Boston butt, I think is what they call it.
Yeah.
And I mean, not to be like cheap, but unfortunately it's usually cheaper to buy.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get like brisket or whatever, because
is brisket expensive?
Yeah, it's pretty expensive. It's like, geez, I don't even know because I don't really shop for it. It's quite a bit more expensive. I usually just mess with like poultry and like.
Had you done a barbecue day at Rudy's over there?
At Rudy's?
At Rudy's, yeah.
I mean, I've been to Rudy's. There's this other weird place here called Bill Miller that people are like super into, and I like don't mess with them. They're like fast food barbecue. So
I see.
Yeah, there's this place right by where I work that's like really good barbecue, and a bartender that I used to work with previously like works there now. So like I kind of hook up there sometimes.
That's dope.
Because they're super expensive. So I'm always kind of like, they'll come in. I'm like, got this latte if you got the pulled pork or whatever.
Yeah.
These little switches.
That's sick.
I'm all for that. Yeah, that's such a like satisfactory feeling, like switching item. Like I'll give you the thing and you give me that thing or whatever. All about it. Texas barbecue all the way. And like I haven't been to like other barbecue capitals in the country, like Kansas City or North Carolina or the South. But and I don't want to be that person, but I feel pretty confident that Texas is like the best barbecue. And I think it's mainly just because Texas will just do like everything. Whereas I think other places are a little set and they're like, this is how we do this barbecue exactly like this. Whereas Texas is literally like, dude, I'll barbecue a watermelon or whatever. Like,
I've seen that. Yeah.
They just like, I love it. Especially in San Antonio, because like San Antonio straight up just feels like a little Mexico pretty much. So you get that Mexican flair with a lot of the barbecue
That's
here.
Cool.
And I'm all about that. While I will admit though that I think there's better American Mexican food than Tex-Mex. I think
Tex-Mex.
I love Tex-Mex, but I've had better Mexican American food other places.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you gotta come to California and try the Mexican food here. It's the best, especially where Maddie is in San Diego, literally right there.
I've had some Cali burritos, some like surf and turf, and I'm like, I'm so about that life.
It's so good, yeah.
I've had some like Al Pastor burritos and like,
it's all about
dude, Al Pastor. You walk up to a food truck in downtown LA or just the middle of like I don't know Hawthorne or some random city in LA, and you're gonna get the dankest Al Pastor.
I can't remember what the place was called, but I was when I was in San Francisco a few years ago. I had some place in the Mission District, and I think I ate this like foot-long burrito in like maybe 5 minutes, and then like literally the next day, and then that night I ate this like really spicy tom yum like seafood special.
That sounds dank too.
It was so good, but it was also like I think that in the burrito. And like I straight up was like holed up in a hotel for like the next 4 days, like sick, basically like ruined the rest of our like legendary West Coast road trip. It was like, I guess we're gonna skip all this because we're in America's Best Value Inn for like 4 nights.
No, that's so sad.
No.
It was worth it. I mean, it wasn't. It was a terrible experience, but it was worth it.
Have you tried tri-tip out here? Like California barbecue is known for its tri-tip, and like I found out that
like beef, right?
It's beef, and it's like a specific cut of beef, and they only have this cut in California, from what I know. Like we have relatives from like the East Coast and like Midwest and stuff, and whenever they come here, they're like, "Dude, we can't find tri-tip anywhere but California."
Weird. Yeah. Is it like a tender piece of meat or something, or like?
I would say, it's pretty tender. It's also just like really. I don't know, Maddie. How would you describe it? It's good.
It can be really rubbery.
It can be
kind of if cooked or kind of left on for a little too long. I was cooking with it over summer for a short time, doing it with a chimichurri sauce, and it was absolutely delicious.
Chimichurri is something I need to have more of.
It's a brisket though. Tri-tip is just
it's kind of like a brisket. Yeah.
I think I don't have enough experience cooking meats to a degree where, especially like red meats, where I think I sometimes forget like how like truly like rare and bloody it can be, and it's still fine because I think some of those kinds of things really benefit from being like barely cooked.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm trying to figure that out, and like I should probably I feel like my dad is the source of information that I could probably go to most directly, but whatever. But that sounds really good.
It's good. Next time you come to California, we'll have to take you to our favorite tri-tip place.
Oh yeah, I'm absolutely down. Are y'all in the LA area or are you in the Bay Area? I forget.
I am right now in like Ventura County, which is like right below Santa Barbara. It's in between Santa Barbara.
It's like just a little above LA then?
Yes.
Or? Okay.
And I am south of LA in San Diego County.
Oh, sweet. Okay. So is that in like actual San Diego proper?
We're about 20 minutes away, but the freeway generally has a lot of stuff connected.
Yeah, I went to San Diego for the first time like 2 months before the pandemic like became where it was, and one of the most best vacations I've had. It was like my partner's 30th birthday, and we like found some cheap tickets, and we stayed close to like Balboa Park, like
nice
zoo and stuff. Which I like zoos, but I'm always like halfway through, I'm always like
yeah.
It's kind of a painful experience, but yeah, San Diego is like one of the best places. I feel like
San Diego is cool. I really like San Diego because it's like Santa Barbara, but more big city vibes than Santa Barbara.
Totally, yeah.
To me, at least.
I haven't spent enough time in Santa Barbara to speak to it, but yeah, I really like San Diego a lot.
Yeah,
just the coastline there is so ridiculous. I'm just like, wow. Like, I didn't realize like how rocky the coast of California was, like kind of throughout the whole way. I thought it was kind of maybe like Big Sur up. And I was like, wow, the whole coast is just like really incredibly gorgeous.
Yeah, no, it's sick.
Yeah.
Southern California has some of the best beaches. So
yeah, no, I like grew up going to like Texas beaches, and it's like, I don't know if you
I've never been to Texas actually. Beaches. No.
I still have never been out to Corpus Christi. Oh.
You haven't?
I haven't.
Yeah, I mean, like you have California beaches, like there's no reason. Like they're so pathetic here.
Yeah.
And they're like so small where it's like you'll often get like 20-foot little stretch before it turns to ocean. It's like,
oh no.
And it's all covered with seaweed or whatever. It's
my favorite. That's for me though. I'll take it.
I mean, I love the seaweed, but I'm like, it scares me sometimes too.
I guess what California and Texas have in common are the massive oil spills though. So yeah.
I love it.
That offshore drilling.
Love it. I love going to the beach and just seeing these huge rigs just out of the horizon.
Oh yeah, dude. Whenever you go to the beach here, if you drive by the coast at night, you just see the massive rigs out there. Oh, dude, I worked at a pizza shop in Santa Barbara in Ivy, and we would have like the, like these workers from the rig, because you know how they work like a few weeks on, a few weeks off.
Right.
They would come in on like their days off to the pizza shop, and like the owner would have them do work and then like pay them in just like beer and pizza. It was so weird, dude. And it was like strange because these motherfuckers are like, I don't know, probably well into their 40s, and you just see them like commenting on like these like college girls' bodies, and I'm just like, I'm like, why are you guys here? Like, why is this person letting them just like get drunk for free at this like college pizza place? It was so strange, dude.
Well, I'm also like, I would imagine those people are making like good money since it's such a insane.
They're probably making big bucks, honestly.
Right. Jeez. Yeah, I think my my siblings' father, I think, worked on an ocean oil rig at some point in his life. That seems like such bizarre work. I mean,
it definitely does.
I feel like you're really selling yourself short to I don't know. I'm not for that energy. It's like, yeah, cool, you can make money, but like at what cost?
And that's kind of how I feel about like my job right now is like, you know, it's like my first job out of college. So it's kind of just like whatever, you know, but like I'm contracted by SoCal Gas, which is like, totally. Gas company over here.
Right.
You know, and like I didn't know I was going to be put on a project for SoCal Gas when I got hired by this company. They're just like, hey, we're putting you on this project. And I was just like, damn.
And it's like, we're all trying to literally just like make it. So it's like,
yeah. And it's like, whatever. It's just like, sometimes it's kind of just like, I'm out here just slaving for the earth killers. You know what I'm saying? So
it's, I recently had a friend that like moved to Colorado and like got a job with Amazon. It's like, it seems like a pretty well-paying job with Amazon. Like he's doing some sort of like software engineering or something like that. But I'm just kind of like,
I know, dude. Seriously, it's just like, damn.
I'm like, I'm just like, that Amazon is like literally like demon energy.
I know, seriously. Yeah.
But also get that like you're trying to like live your life as you need to. So like, I don't know. I never want to put anyone down for the kind of work they do to like stay alive in that sense.
We out here just trying to survive, you know?
Yeah, literally.
I guess anyways, though, we have one more question before we wrap things up here. I guess real quick, where can people keep up with all things CC Sorensen?
I mean, I guess really the best places is like Twitter and Instagram, probably. It's mostly where I'm at. I mean, I've been needing to like put together some sort of actual website, or maybe even like a newsletter, but
That would be sick. A newsletter would be cool.
I know how people feel about newsletters though, so I want to approach it properly if I do that. Not that I have some large following necessarily, but yeah, Instagram, Twitter is a good place. That's where you'll find like stuff about music. My Bandcamp's always linked to those places. I pretty much release everything exclusively through Bandcamp, and then other labels that I'm lucky enough to work with. Yeah, those are the main zones.
Tight.
For sure. And I can be found at CC Sorensen at either of those spaces.
So be sure to check out Cece at Twitter or Instagram and buy their new tape at Full Spectrum. Anyways, we have one more question. Yeah. It's kind of the biggest one of the show. Are you ready for it?
I'll slam this wine real fast.
Yeah, you slam it. You have to be, are you ready?
Totally.
Okay, so Maddie, do you want to take it? You want me to take it?
You go for it, Thomas.
Okay, a rat is going to jump into your mouth. Do you want this rat to jump into your mouth head first or butt first, and why?
It's weird. That's such a funny question because there's been this little like toy rat that's been lingering around my job, like a Halloween decoration that we had. And I've just been like being really cruel and I'll like move it to like really terrible places. Not where like customers would see it, but just like places that like employees are involved with or whatever. So there's always this like rat. So this is a funny question.
It's a rough one, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it's like I had a friend that had a pet rat and I remember letting it like crawl across my shoulders. And I was like, wow, that's like really
disturbing.
A rodent is crawling. I could just
I know that feeling.
Yeah, I mean, it was a sweet little rat. Like I was like totally down to hang out with this rat, and like, we were totally hanging out. But I was also like, oh my, like that's just such a like the little claws or whatever.
Yeah,
it's terrible. I mean, I guess like I feel like maybe face first. I don't know. I feel like either way, you're just absolutely screwed.
Yeah,
like, I would just
the white lab rat. Don't worry.
Yeah,
that's kind of.
We'll say it's a clean one, a clean, well kept.
I mean, I don't want to be like dark or whatever. But I'm just like, I hope maybe head first it can just like kill me somehow by like digging through my throat really quickly. Whereas like butt first, I feel like it's just like this miserable, awful experience. Where you're just like choking and gagging.
I like how
hilarious question.
I like how you prioritize the well-being of the rat, though, even though like when it went head first, not very many people do that. They say they want it to go head first so they can kill it, whereas you're like, I hope it kills me. You know?
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't question the rat being harmed in this experiment. It needs to come out alive.
That was a great answer, Cece. That was sick. I love that. Well, I think that just about does it for the show this week, guys. Thanks for tuning into TBD on KCSB FM 91.9 every Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. and NetNet Radio every Saturday, 4 p.m. This has been CC Sorensen from San Antonio. Thanks again, Cece.
Peace.